Back with more sex education. This is episode 2 of season 2. Very excited to continue and see what's going to be happening next as we delve deeper into this new season. Really enjoyed the premiere episode. Probably one of my favourites of the show. Lots of interesting, potentially tragic storylines at play as well that I'm excited to see them explore and develop a bit more. So yeah, I really love what this show's doing. I think it's very important in some of the messages it's portraying. It's very funny, it's very real, also very bizarre. And yeah, this second season got off to such a fantastic start. I'm hyped to see where they take it. So without further ado, let's just get right into the next one.
Talk to me.
Well, that's a pairing I wasn't expecting. I was going to say I didn't see coming, but I refrained. Oh no, well I didn't, but...
I forgot to say, Colin, just call me a dirty bitch.
I don't know if I want to.
I need help, sir.
We all need help sometimes, son.
I mean, that is true.
Be normal, try to be more relatable. Whatever, just don't humiliate me.
Bye, darling. I'll see you later.
You honest, Moody?
I fear her attempts to be relatable. What's that?
Have fun with the smart kids. You look great.
She does. It's true.
Ellie, how you doing?
Good.
Oh, pain.
You're not my girlfriend anymore, right? So you don't need to pretend that you care. Whatever you thought I said, you're wrong.
Boy.
Raheem, you may sit with us. These people are insignificant.
No, I'm fine here, thank you.
Yeah, fuck you.
Please give Ms. Milburn a very warm welcome.
At least he didn't say give her a hand.
Let's talk about sex, baby. You and me. All of us, so put anything in there that you would like to
Oh,
see.
bless him. It's kind of cool to see a lot more interaction between the adults like this.
Paired with an academic tutor for the rest of term. A peer.
Oh.
My grades are fine. Well, you can get by on fine when you're a star in the pool. But when you're not, you have to work as hard as everybody else.
Oh, come on now.
Let's read out our 10 years time essays. We have to read them out loud. Who wants to go first?
Keeping me on track to become the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
He's from Game of Thrones.
Which will...
He was a little shit in that.
An Erasmus scholarship. Organisational skills are key. Don't let it happen again. Alright.
Oh.
Thanks to Maeve, you can all
Why is she embarrassed to read it out?
Don't get one of these whilies in this class.
Oh, are you a dick in this as well? Actor who I'm sure is nice in real life.
Picnic tables, 6 o'clock, bring your maths homework and don't be late.
Should have seen the smug look Ola gave me earlier. Don't like her.
Why?
Wonder why that is.
She's still hung up on Otis.
Ames, I think it might be Banker. Baker's not on there.
I think I'm gonna stick with Baker. I do really like toast.
I love her so fucking much. Oh my god.
Maeve thinks she's so scary.
Oh, I hope those two actually end up being good friends. I feel like they'd really get on.
On at your left. Slap it. Took me ages to get it as well.
Oh, see, that was nice.
Did you say something?
Yeah, don't say it out loud.
Sorry.
Oof.
Good
It's really
job.
bad.
Oh no.
Moving his finger.
Oh no.
Hi. Hey.
Don't shoot each other, okay?
I need to go find Otis. That's the kind of competitive spirit you should be bringing to aptitude scheme, Maeve.
Where do you come from? Oh no.
I want the house to be large enough to have a kitchen table with 4 chairs, but not too roomy to ever feel the depth of my aloneness. because I'll probably be alone. I don't think I belong in the class.
Oh, that broke my heart. Fuck.
You're a beautiful writer, Maeve. You can have more expensive dreams than 4 chairs and some windows.
You're really not good at this. It might be worth acquiring some other skills.
Statistics are robust, did you know that?
Damn. I mean, she's not entirely wrong, I guess, but also...
Parade!
Oh yeah, that guy, who I'm like 80% sure is actually a ghost.
What was that? That was really unsafe. Eric? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Oh, I wonder who's going to join him on here and set up a love triangle.
Why won't you notice me?
Do you think they do vegan?
Because you're awful.
She says things like, hola, como dias, and hola, como diamas, and all I can hear is Shakira, Shakira. I don't speak Spanish, so, well,
I do like the idea of like a teacher being a client.
As if you were on fire from within, the moon lives in the lining of your skin.
Sorry?
pardon?
A bit softer. A bit slower, maybe.
Yes.
I really don't like goldfish.
Oh man.
You're bad at fingering. Please don't tell Ola I said anything, but sort it out.
Well. Unfun fair, am I right?
Yeah. I'm gonna get you so wet. You're gonna feel like your water just broke. I miss my mum a bit, but not my dad though. He's
An arsehole?
To put it lightly.
My dad's a dick too.
You a boob or an arse man?
I like elbows.
I'm not sure these are the thoughts you should have staring at a goldfish.
Gotta keep on track. You'll be swimming again before you know it.
Oh, good.
Well, what if I'm not?
That's not really my thing. Thanks, though.
But you're acting all the time. Can you probably get a sword?
Oh, wow. Surprisingly deep, really.
Still got your, You're not puss or anything?
I won't tell anyone.
Well.
Please help.
Okay. But only because I pity you. Show me what you did then. I was about to eat that.
Aren't you glad you didn't?
Let's back down to 6. It was juicy. 9.
Congratulations, you can tell the time.
And then I carried on.
Continue.
She's intense.
Continued that.
You should be asking your girlfriend. Tune into her orange. Okay, we're done now.
Thank you.
What type of lubricant would you recommend for doing anal sex?
Oh, you should always use a water-based lubricant. Oil-based.
I see what's getting added to the curriculum.
I've already spoken to Maxine Tarrington, and she approves. I'm looking forward to working.
Those guys in the background.
You're our new quiz head. High five.
Don't let me down.
Yay!
Hey, good job. If you see Ola, I'm looking for her.
Be happy, babes.
Thrilled.
I don't think I'm over Otis.
Oh, really?
I keep saying.
You have to tune in to her orange. Just listen to what she's actually saying. That's how you learn Spanish. Huh? Good luck.
It's an apple!
I could show you what I like.
So it's not about the words. Spatula. Pepper grinder.
What is this show? Well, I mean, whatever works. You little pricks.
That's not mine.
He's still not going to tell though. He's going to go back straight to find Eric might be getting with someone else.
If you put one foot out of line, you won't have a roof over your head. Understood?
I think he'd fucking rather that. Bastard. Okay, another fantastic episode. Really enjoyed this one. It's so odd kind of watching this show and finding so much comfort in it, considering how cringeworthy it can be. Purposely so, obviously. But there's just so many moments where you're like, oh my god, like, and it's like, oh, what are they doing? But it's just also so hilarious. And all the characters they built up are just, it's just so well realised, this whole world, I think. I think, you know, it's very educational, very focused on, you know, some of the realities of sex and, you know, being a teenager, kind of discovering all these things. It doesn't shy away from that, but it's also kind of brings some kind of absurdity to it, whether it's through like some performances or the music or the staging or the circumstances surrounding all this stuff. That just brings it to a bit of a level of absurdity that makes it kind of, I don't know what the word is, but you can kind of stomach it a bit better and you can just enjoy it instead of being like, oh, this is just too much, I can't watch this. So they balanced that really well. And I'm pointing that out now because there's a lot of moments like that in this one, I felt. You know, the stuff with those two teachers and the dirty talk, all of that. Everything with Otis and Ola, that whole kind of sequence. You know, I mean, you know, if you're watching this and then your parents walked in or something and else is happening, you'd be like, oh my god, just jump out the window. But yeah, they just handle it so well and they get the balance really right. Well, where should we start? Let's talk about Adam first, shall we? He was like one of the main stories in this one. And we didn't see him in the last episode, so it was cool that they revisited his story here. Seeing what he was kind of up to with this new kind of school / institution place. Kind of the idea of him refusing help from others. I feel like he'd think his dad would be proud of him and would be disappointed in him if he accepted help from others. And then just improve all on his own, even though that's pretty damn hard to do, to just work on yourself like that on your own and not get outside help and support. Which seems to be a big thing in this episode as well, like with Jackson and his story, getting a tutor and stuff. So yeah, I really enjoyed revisiting him and the fact that those two guys framed him and kind of got him kicked out because it's that fear, I guess, isn't it, that Adam himself probably is understanding because he's still kind of working out, I think, exactly who he is in regards to sexuality and stuff, obviously everything with him and Eric last season. So I think he really understood what those two guys were kind of afraid of, and he genuinely probably would have kept that a secret until they stabbed him in the back and got him kicked out. And then there's that last desperate plea, I think, was really sad to that guy trying to get him to stay because he just didn't want to live with his dad anymore. But that's all kind of come crashing down. But I think they did showcase some growth with Adam in this one. You know, I think season 1 Adam, particularly early season 1, would have had an absolute blast finding out about those two guys being gay, kind of outing them, taking the piss, all of that. Because he's kind of going through all those struggles himself. Not that he's openly admitting any of that just yet. Maybe that's going to be part of his journey this season. Seeing probably how lonely and corrupting your life could be, I guess, if you're not just being true to yourself like those guys. Like they just did, you know, pretty asshole move at the end, like framing him like that. So maybe that could be Adam's journey to be like, well, I'm not going to go down that path, I just need to be true to myself, maybe. But I think they've showcased well that he has gone through these changes and stuff. He can be willing to accept help from others and support, and I think he's going to need that in his own development. He's not going to get it from his dad, probably get it from his mum at least, but, you know, that final little shot of him kind of clenching his hand, I think we've seen him do it before to kind of like try and control his anger and stuff. I think he probably has issues in regards to that, and a lot of it probably stems from his father. So that's going to be interesting now that they're back in the same household. But there's a lot of pressure on him, I think, to be like the perfect guy, the perfect son, and no one can be. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. And the one thing that was kind of grounding him, and the one thing he had going for him near the end of season 1, was something potentially blossoming with Eric, and now even that might be taken away from him because of Raheem showing up and showing any interest. And I imagine that's going to be a whole love triangle-y thing. We'll see what happens with it. You know, I'm not often big on love triangles. I think they're very overdone. But we'll see. I mean, I'd rather they didn't, because we already have one going on with Otis and Ola and Maeve, I would say. But maybe they'll surprise me. Either way, it was cool to kind of revisit his character and bring him back into it, and I shall be interested in seeing what his future is going to be and how he'll develop, what his interactions with Eric may be, could make or break. You know, the success of his arc, I guess, is what happens next. I think this is the tough bit for him, kind of trying to bounce back and adjust to a world, adjust to himself properly. It might have been easier for him to remove himself from everything that happened with Eric and stuff, because he wasn't there. He had to focus on this regime and doing all these, you know, tasks day by day at certain times, being strict and uniform. But now he can be kind of unique in himself again. We'll see how he copes with that. So that was interesting. Jean kind of helping out the school. That is one thing I also really liked about this episode. I feel like the adults got a lot to do in this one. We got a lot of focus. We had that subplot with the teachers and the dirty talk, and the idea that one of them actually went to be like a client for Otis. I thought was a really cool like twist on the format we've gotten so far. It made sense because everyone kind of goes through issues, you know, no matter what age they are. So that was really interesting to see him kind of approach Otis with that. Otis is, again, as he normally is, he's got his own issues to deal with, but he's also helping others as well. Everything that I thought was really cool, and how they tied the kind of solution to those problems, like listening to, you know, what your partner actually wants, and, you know, listening to their orange, if you will. How that was kind of the solution to both Otis and Colin's problems in this one. So that was cool, and it added layers to Colin as a character as well. He's just been kind of the wacky, quirky teacher up to this point. But there's a real kind of heart and humanity that I think they added to him in this episode. And just seeing him like have this genuine care for someone and their well-being, and just wanting to be happy. I really liked that. I think, you know, as characters go, I think sometimes the teachers were a bit more either cookie cutter or a bit outlandish, and like, I don't really believe that this is a real person. And I feel like Colin was one of those, but now they made him seem a lot more real, I think. So I really appreciated them giving him kind of a subplot, and with Mr. Groff involved and Jean involved and all that, them kind of interacting and having a bit of interplay between them, but it not being related directly to like another kid storyline. It was cool to kind of see some focus from like the adult characters. Obviously, I think the focus still needs to be like Otis, Maeve, etc., all the kind of younger ones, but it's cool that they don't shy away from the fact that no matter what age you are, you know, you can have sex, and they explore stories with all ages. I really like that, so that was great. And Jean being able to stick around now and help implement a new curriculum, it's probably going to be a big part of her arc this season. I'm intrigued to see where that goes. It was already awkward enough with her little speech when she started singing "Let's Talk About Sex, Baby." Oh my god, no. Not quite Love Really Hurts Without You from season 1, was it? And Otis's reaction to that. I thought Asa Butterfield, I think is the actor who plays him, isn't it? I thought he was fantastic in that scene where Jean's giving that speech. Just the kind of utter, like, I don't know what even the word is for it. Just the sheer horror and embarrassment all over his face. I thought he was really well done in that scene, and the fact that you know, Ola and Maeve were both kind of looking to him, being like, oh, I hope he's okay and everything. Wholesome. And a lot of interesting parallels, I think, with Maeve and Ola in this one. The fact that they're both in that academic scheme thing. They're both into Otis. I feel like they have a lot of similar interests, and maybe one day they can get along, but, you know, it's kind of natural, I guess, for them to see each other as rivals right now, because Ola's, I think, overly aware that Otis probably had a thing for Maeve. Not that Otis, I think, flat out ever said it, but the whole thing with him comparing animals and stuff last season. And Maeve's just jealous because Ola is with Otis. So, interesting kind of rivalry between the two of them. Hopefully, they will be able to get along at some point, but there's still the competitive nature between them, as they've showcased in the funfair sequence when they were shooting and everything. But yeah, that was a bit of a diversion for me talking about Jean, but I'm looking forward to seeing where Jean's arc will go, helping the school out. Potential for a lot of comedy there, and more screen time for Gillian Anderson, which is not a bad thing ever. So, good. Happy with that. And yeah, Otis and Ola's story is such a, again, you know, a relatable thing, I think, to just like, oh god, I don't know anything about this. Google, what's this like? What do I do here? And him just following like the step-by-step guide. Oh my god. Again, it's such a cringeworthy thing, and watching it, you're like, oh, what the hell are you doing? But it's interesting, like, just the subject matter, and yet there's a charm to how they present it and how the actors kind of just go with it. I think it's so easy for this show to just be so much and too far and so cringy you just can't watch it, but it gets the balance just spot on, like it's just entertaining somehow. It constantly amazes me, really. But I enjoyed seeing Otis and Ola try to work through another struggle. The fact that Ola kind of just seemed okay with Otis and the sex clinic and everything. I thought it was going to be a bigger deal than it was, but it kind of wasn't even really a big deal. But that Otis didn't tell Ola about that side of things. Ola couldn't quite bring herself to tell Otis that he was bad. And it was up to Lily to just be blunt about it. I love Lily. The fact that she was just like, the friend is you. It's you. You're bad. That was great. Just the kind of dynamic also between Ola and Lily. The fact that they're really good friends, I'm enjoying. That was an interesting parallel, I think, to Maeve and Amy, their kind of friendships. That was really cool to see the different sides of that going on at the fun fair. And yeah, it's just another kind of obstacle, I think, for Otis and Ola to kind of get over. But, you know, they're working on it, as we saw at the end. So that's nice that they could power through. And just honesty is the best policy. It would always seem to be the case. And hopefully one day they'll learn that. But also they're teenagers, they're going to make mistakes. So I enjoyed that little storyline for Otis and everything. The fact that he has a struggle but still is helping others with their problems, even though he has plenty on, you know, going on his own plate. Then Eric and Raheem. Raheem seems very, very interested in Eric, so again, I'm sensing a love triangle there, especially now Adam is on his way back, so that's going to be awkward. But yeah, Raheem seems a bit mysterious. I mean, his character arc so far is just him appearing and just staring at Eric, saying stuff about poems. So I don't know too much about him. I do like that he really isn't vibing with the bitchy girl, and he's like, no, I'm okay, thanks, I don't want to hang out with you. I'm going to sit with Eric. I like that very much. I highly approve. And it was cool, he's kind of calling out the school system for not talking about like gay sex and stuff as much. And Jean kind of having the answers so they can maybe add that into the curriculum and stuff. That was a cool kind of thing, because I do think there is probably a lack of that in schools. So that was cool that bringing in this other character can, I guess it's an opportunity for more education on all aspects of sex, which is cool. So I liked that. And yeah, we don't know enough about him yet for me to really properly judge, you know, are him and Eric going to be maybe a good fit? If that's going to happen, I don't know. But I think that, you know, with Adam coming back, it's just going to be a complicated thing anyway. So we'll see. But the fact that he was just constantly following Eric around and staring was a bit creepy, but he also does seem to have decent intentions and seems like a nice guy. So I guess we'll have to wait and find out where they're going with it. But yes, there was that. And we have Maeve. That essay of hers broke my heart. I feel like I'm 80% sure I'm just going to be alone forever. So I think that's what really hit me when the teacher read that out. I think her name was Emily, the teacher, female teacher. Colin and Emily, I think. And again, it was cool to see a different side to her in this episode. And she was kind of even saying that was kind of the point. You know, she's so used to being this pristine prune teacher at school. But she just wants to feel sexy at home. And somehow, like, the Colin and Emily pairing, I feel like it just works. I don't know, it's a very unusual couple, but I quite like it for that. So that was really cool to see. Again, this episode really fleshed out and gave different sides and perspectives and screen time to a lot of the adult characters, which I feel like was probably the one thing that season 1 lacked more of. Because outside of Jean and maybe Jakob to an extent in season 1, there really wasn't many more focus on the adults, even if plenty of adults did appear. So I'm glad they're kind of expanding on that a bit and then giving everyone kind of a fair crack of the whip. So that was all cool. And yeah, Maeve kind of enrolling in this scheme. She's now the head of that other like quiz-a-thon thing. I can't remember the name of it. So that's really cool. I'm liking that now she's back at school, she's getting all these new opportunities to shine. And the fact that she was just embarrassed because what she wants to have in 10 years, you know, is a house with windows, and it's just such kind of, it's such a sad thing to be like, I want a house that kind of tricks me into thinking that I'm not actually alone, even though I am. That's something that really hit me because I kind of relate to that. I feel like, yeah, forever alone, that's going to be me. 25 cats and 25 dogs. So that really hit me. And when the teacher was then like, you need to dream bigger, Maeve, because she just has that faith in her. Love that. So hopefully Maeve can really get into the swing of things and have some really cool opportunities with her writing and stuff going forward now that she's in that scheme, she's in the quiz thing. So we're very happy with that. And her realising she's not over Otis, which everyone in there aren't new, but she kind of still needs to accept that, I guess, and that's going to be a struggle for her to work through. Because she was kind of achieving the things she wanted to achieve in this episode, and then, you know, Otis was kind of like mentioning, where's Ola? So it wasn't quite what she wanted and what she imagined. So yeah, I like how I kind of presented that story for her and the potential arc for her through the essay that she had to write. Very cleverly done, and I just love Maeve so much. She's so cool. I only want the best. So lots of potential for her story as well, and I liked everything they did with her in this one. And Amy and Steve, they're not like huge main characters and stuff. They don't get a lot of focus, but there's some comfort to their relationship. I really like that they're just, you know, solid. And Amy, her line about the toast being a baker, fucking hilarious. I love her so much. I do hope those two get a bit more focus. Hopefully there is room for it. I have a lot more hope that they will do that, especially because giving the adult characters more and more focus as well. I feel like they are going to bring the limelight more to some lesser characters. But there's just a comfort about those two, and their whole kind of relationship that I really do enjoy. So yeah, her just kind of being the source of support for Maeve, getting on, trying to find what she wants to do with her life, filling in that questionnaire. Instead of being a banker, she's going to be a baker. Brilliant. And to see Steve's also in that quiz-a-thon thing and the academic schemey thing. That was, again, really cool. So I love those two a lot. I just want to give them a shout out because I think they're really cool and I would like to see them get more focus. But they also have a very comforting presence in the show that I do really appreciate. And then, yeah, I liked the stuff with Colin and Emily, their kind of little dirty talk side plot, and the fact that they kind of worked it all out in the end. In, again, a very comical way. Like, he could just say anything. It's like, spatula. And it was, like, dirty. Oh, so funny. But, you know, whatever works for anyone, everyone has their thing, I guess. So it was cool to see some teachers kind of get that focus in, like, a sex-based storyline. That was very well done. And then Jackson continues to break my heart. His story, and Vivian, I believe, was the tutor who was also in the group with Maeve, etc. I don't know. I feel like Jackson seems to like appreciate. I certainly appreciate her "I don't give a fuck about you" attitude. She was just like, yeah, people can be mean about me, but you know, one day I'm going to be, you know, successful in my job. They're just going to be doing menial things with their lives and kind of wasted all their potential just trying to be dicks to anyone else instead of like studying and working hard and everything. I kind of like, she's like, yeah, people are going to pick on me, but you know, my life's going to be good. It's going to turn out well. I can kind of get on with it. So I liked that kind of attitude to things. She's very brash, you know, she doesn't have maybe some of the tact and bedside manner a tutor should have, but I feel like that could be a development with her and Jackson as things move on. You know, they're very kind of opposites right now, but I feel like they're going to head into a direction where those two actually get on really well. See, he already kind of defended her a bit when those guys were mean to her at the fun fair. It's kind of like, oh, just ignore them, you know, they're idiots. But obviously Vivian didn't really seem to care. But again, the fact that Jackson felt he needed to like hurt himself so he couldn't swim, but now because that's the case, he needs to focus more on his grades because he doesn't have that backup. And then Vivian saying, oh, you know, you're going to reach your peak fairly earlier on, and then what's your backup going to be if you don't properly heal and all of that. So Jackson, I think, is going to go on another journey of discovering a whole new side to himself in a different way to like what some of the teacher characters may have done this season, or what Adam may do this season, for example. It's in a twisted way, and I hope he kind of patches things up with like Maeve and Otis and everyone later on down the line. Obviously there's a bit of bitterness there with how things kind of ended up. He's like, oh, don't pretend to care about me, Maeve, we're not together anymore, even though she did really care about him, she just didn't love him. But hopefully they can kind of patch things up. But he just needs a support network, I think, right now, that he doesn't really get. Because, you know, see, one of his mums in particular is very pushy of the swimming thing, and he doesn't want to do that, so that's causing him more pressure and harm and everything. So maybe Vivian can be that support. They can kind of rely on each other, help each other out a bit. I think that could be really interesting. But yeah, the fact that he could be joining the drama club and stuff, doing like Romeo and Juliet, doing like school play or whatever it was, that would be a cool side to him to maybe explore. Just different avenues. I like that a lot of these characters are being given loads of different potential options as to where their stories could go, what they can do, what they're good at. Everyone has like multitude of talents, because I think that's a lot more realistic. You know, it's not always necessarily like, oh, you are good at maths and no other subject. But a lot of TV shows will be like, oh, you're the good at maths character, you're the good at writing character. I feel like a lot of these characters have, you know, their toes in a lot of talent pools, if you will. I don't know if you know that's an expression, but it is now. Which I just feel like is a bit more realistic as well. So just how they kind of present some of these characters, also well written. And, you know, I think you only dislike characters in the show if you're supposed to, like Adam's dad, for example. He's a really good character and very well written character because you're supposed to hate him and you do. But yeah, there's a lot of depth to most of these characters at this point, and even like I was saying, the teachers in this episode, they've got a lot of layers added to them as well. So lots of really, really good stuff. I'm very excited to see where they're going to take all of this in the rest of this season. We still have another 6 to go. I think there's 8 in this season again, like season 1. Could be wrong, but either way, another very strong episode. Season 2 is like nailing it so far. Very excited to see when they're going to take all this next, what they're going to be focusing on. But yeah, really interesting setup, and we'll see where they take it. But for now, that's going to be everything. And until my next reaction, thanks for watching.